I wanted to share a few thoughts. So the direction of this, I can actually say in like 2 seconds. This will be a little bit of a not typical talk for me. I wanted to kind of play the discussant role and the synthesis role. But there's part of me mid-career that feels a sense of calling to think about how to use my gifts. I was a Christian and I wanted to use my gifts in psychology, and I actually feel a certain call to use my gifts in communities and specifically in churches. And so Joel Wong and I are talking about a gratitude intervention, and we're working on a grant. And it's cool, and I hope in a couple of years to be able to talk with you about that. But really what I wanted to talk about, it's warning to the women in my life in this talk. So I'm doing a little intrigue. First of all, my community that I came from is having like a really hard time right now. So whatever you think people should have voted for, 80% of evangelicals voted for Trump. And it is causing quite a bit of pain and hurt and division. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is, am I supposed to do anything about this? And so y'all are going to get the version of this that's less, I'll give you a few theoretical ideas, but I'm actually going to give you the more story version. This is an interesting book. There's a chapter in here where I started recognizing names from my mom's family in Dallas. James Robinson, basically people connected to Ronald Reagan. This started to hit close to home for me. This book, I would recommend it. There's a point where basically this person says that you kind of spend half your life learning gender-wise to be kind of half a person, and then if you mature, you spend the other half kind of learning to be a whole person. So this is me trying to be a whole person. I'm think of this as a poem, kind of. This is, I would hope, when y'all go to lunch, I put this on my email thread. And yeah, I'm not going to make it through this talk without crying. Friendship may well be reckoned the masterpiece of nature. This is an Emerson quote. My son's name is Emerson. That's my middle name. So it was kind of fun to find this because I think this is right. When my mom was sick with ovarian cancer and she didn't have long to live, my dad and my mom, Nikki, warning, Nikki's my sister. I love you, Nikki. And she's now a counselor, so she's working on getting licensed. Really proud of you, Nikki. So she gets to see me. It's kind of like at one point she watched me play football. Now she gets to watch me try to do psychology. So I remember my mom saying, things kind of get simple when you know you're going to die soon. There was a point where I could tell she had let go. And there's a little while where people were giving pressure to her of like she was supposed to believe that she was going to be healed. But there's a point where I think she came to peace with it. And my mom and my dad wrote down a range of things that they wanted to pass to us. And this is the one I wanted to mention to you, because I think this is basically what we need to hear. This is like I do lots of quant stuff. I do lots of studies. But when people are dealing with existential pain, they're healing. And basically, whether people are religious duns or I'm not a religious dun, I'm a Christian, but I still had to heal my faith over things that have happened in my life. That's just kind of how life goes. And so one of the things that my mom wanted us to know as kids is music, art, piano, oils, pastels, woodworking, they're essential. It's not periphery. It's worship. My mom was the second of four boys, or three boys, so four kids. And her dad was second to James Robinson, who was kind of like a Billy Graham in Dallas, had a TV show. My granddad traveled a lot. He's still alive. He has my same birthday, 50 years older than me. And I love him deeply. And he's a really good man. my mom, because of gender stuff in the church, she wasn't able to have the same role that her brothers had, and she didn't have the same access to my granddad. And so when she was about 35, 36, she was really depressed. And what came out of that, I'm giving you a real short version. What came out of that was she had worked so hard to please her dad and get his attention. She used to go on their, revivals and sing. There was one point, my mom was super smart. She went back to school after 25 years. She homeschooled all of us for religious reasons. And she got like a 1450 on the GRE after 25 years of school. My mom was really smart. She could have done anything that she wanted to. And what she decided was worth doing for us was to teach us. So I wouldn't be a psychologist. Basically, she went to Richmond and went back second career to be a counselor. And that was all part of a process of her. We did art lessons together in 8th grade. And that was a start of a process for her. She became a really good artist, and she kind of kept going with it. I got more into football. So I did less, but she kept going with it. And so I kind of want to give you all a sense of, so when I was at PSI, DeAnne let me, I kind of went off the rails and wrote a children's book, because I didn't have time to take the career course at the time it was taking. But it's kind of interesting because you'll see like counseling psych themes in this is not a children's book, basically what I was metabolizing. So let me give you the ideas I think someone like me or any of you who care about these problems need to think about. We were at a humility thing, and this is John Wood. He said, humility is not going to help if there's not a moral vision behind it. And afterwards, he said this, he dropped this on a conversation. I was like, what? I hadn't heard anybody say that. And so I talked to him afterwards and I said, what did you mean? And he basically said, read this. So that's one thing. And what he meant is there's a philosophy of nonviolence and a love that basically needs to be behind humility, or it's not going to help. Humility is another way to call people arrogant. You're not being humble. You're being arrogant. That isn't necessarily going to help the problems. I'm reading lots of stuff. I'm thinking. This is the best book I've read so far. We are being manipulated. Lots of propaganda, and it's a way of controlling people. It's not respectful. It's not respectful of, Caroline talked about dignity. As a Christian in psychology, one way to think about it, if there are any other Christians, one way of, and probably anybody who's getting into psychology, it has its own professional culture. And so what I'm trying to do is stay connected. An analogy I would use is we all have families. For me, my church, my Christian community, it's like a family. Are families perfect? No, they are not perfect. Some of them are broken, and some of them actually have egregious secrets that they should not have kept, and it's wrong. But, when you have clients and they come, and you're trying to help them heal, part of what you're doing is helping them still love their family, even if their family wasn't trustworthy. And so that's what people are dealing with. That's how I would say it. And so is it good to completely separate? That's not where I'm headed. Is it good to totally assimilate? That's not where I'm headed either. I am okay with asking, I'm looking for good questions. And I'll listen to anybody who is thinking about some of the things that I'm thinking about. So there's a little bit of a thing in our field where you're not supposed to read certain people, you're not supposed to cite. I don't agree with that, because I actually think that we have to start to find other people who have similar questions to us. I don't think it's good to just shut down. So for me, I kind of put more weight on the question side to get a little bit of flexibility with that. And I don't think we want to be in a marginalization space, but you should know, for me, doing what I do, there's some risk that I won't fit in here and I won't fit in where I came from. And that's actually true. I think that's true for a lot of people. It's just different identities. So Elise, actually, the group she's with has a language of dwelling and seeking. So, I could write a paper on this. You need some grounding. Think about attachment. I need people who can help me ground to who I am and really stay connected to who I was when I was a little kid. And then I also need people who can help me learn new things and learn about new cultures that when I was a kid, I wasn't exposed to. And so I need both of those movements. And what I found in this field is no one group gives me all of that. So I actually need multiple groups. I think we might all need something like that. I'm giving you one more thing. So basically, I'm telling you, I think the moral vision stuff, I don't think psychology can define that for us. I actually think we bring that to the field, and I think we all have gifts that we can bring to each other. This is the best I've found as an articulation. It was basically Miroslav Volf, and I kind of adapted it away from interreligious dialogue, but it's basically golden rule, and then he took 3 expressions, and kind of focus on 3, 4, 5. It's wrong to coerce others to accept your views. The recipients must be able to receive or reject your perspective rather than be forced to cave in under pressure or superior power. That feels right to me. I mean, I don't know what else to say. If we don't agree on that, I don't know how psychology settles that issue. But I think my question would be, how does this work? I wonder if we could have a conversation about the norms of how we engage this kind of thing. It is wrong to bribe or seduce others to embrace your views. Your vision of a better world has to be offered as valuable and attractive in and of itself rather than on account of its packaging or extrinsic rewards associated with it. And the last one I think is really, really good. It's wrong to compare the best practices of people who share your view or belong to your cultural group with the worst practices of people who do not share your view or belong to your cultural view. I think that helps us bridge across cultural groups, because if we don't agree to that, it's really hard because you get kneecapped all the time. There's always I can already tell you there's already people that I'm embarrassed of in my group. I need us to engage based on the strengths of our communities. This is also there's a group of people who are basically taking risks to critique evangelical Christianity. I think we need more people who are willing to critique the in-group. That is not an easy place to live. So it's a cool model. They basically say if you have hope without humility, you end up in a combative space. If you have, I mean, they're contextualizing this to Christians. If you have too much humility but not enough hope, you're going to get burned out. And if you're low on both, you're going to end up cynical. And they each owned that they actually tend towards one of these. I just thought it was really, I mean, it's really cool. And this was basically an intervention that they disseminated into evangelical Christian churches. Man, I'm so glad somebody's saying that to evangelical Christian churches. The other thing I would point out is, I don't agree with everything David French says, but I have a lot of respect for his courage. And one of the things that he says, these are just my notes on the book, y'all want me to read it? He said this boils down to 2 commitments. I will not lie, and I will, what does he say? I will oppose lies, and I will not be cruel, and I'll oppose people in my community who are cruel. And this is in group. If people in my community are lying, I'm going to say, that's not true. If people are being cruel, I mean, we all know what cruelty is. If someone in your group's being cruel, we're going to oppose that. So here's a quote I like. This is Solzhenitsyn. To stand up for truth is nothing. For truth, you must sit in jail. You can resolve to live your life with integrity. Let your credo be this. Let the lie come into the world. Let it even triumph, but not through me. The simple step of a courageous individual is not to take part in the lie. One word of truth outweighs the world. In keeping silent about evil and burying it so deep within us that no sign of it appears on the surface, we are implanting it, and it will rise up 1,000-fold in the future. When we neither punish nor reproach evildoers, we are not simply protecting their trivial age, we are thereby ripping the foundations of justice from beneath the generations. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like it might be true. This is my mom. I don't know who these kids are. That's me. Nikki was not happy in this picture. I'm pretty sure my dad made us do this. That's Kelly. He's a civil engineer in Atlanta. That's Beeper, Keith. That's my mom. So here's the book I wrote. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who was in class, and her teacher started talking about her career, how she needed to have one, and if she didn't, she wouldn't be important. At least this is what the little girl heard. The little girl worried all day about what she would do with her life at the end of her day. Her father came to say goodnight to her. He seemed to know she was worried about something, but she did not tell him. Her father turned out the light, and she was left alone with her dreams that would soon follow and of which she had no control. Her life began to play before her. First, she became a glorious teacher with really cute kids that listened to every word. Surely her life would be meaningful. That's me. When you write the book, you get to draw the pictures. Next, she was marrying a man of men, a football player from Georgia Tech, a warrior poet, the funniest, most sincere, most. He's really good, yeah. And they bought a beautiful home and had a beautiful son, the smartest, most articulate, most baby ever. He was wonderful. Surely her life was complete. It had meaning. She was significant. This is a little bit of dig on my siblings. They didn't make the book. I wasn't there at that time. If I did the book now, I would put a slide in right here. But suddenly her dream skipped into a nightmare in a way that made no sense, as is often the case in a dream. Her husband turned into a monster. Her kids turned into monsters. All her friends could no longer talk to her. They were nice enough, but they could only say 3 sentences. Your life has no meaning. You are not significant, and no one loves you, and you are alone. This is depression. Alone, in the dark, she awoke. Her mind was already flushed with terror. What if she would never be happy? Did anyone love her? Would her life ever make a difference? She screamed out for her father. Once she fell asleep, she picked up her dream. Where she left off, no monsters. Her kids graduated one by one. They were sports stars. Her daughter was the prettiest girl at the dance. She was surrounded by wonderful friends. Life was full. But then her dream kind of got bad again. In a visit to the doctor, he told her that she would die. She should begin to say goodbye, and in the dream, she remembered the monsters, but they did not return. She watched herself in the dream and knew that she should be feeling terror, sadness, and doubt, but more than these, she felt the peace that she felt with her father. It was like he was still with her. When would she feel the fear that she felt she ought to feel? The little girl even thought this as she was dreaming. Then she saw herself the week before she died. But the feeling that her father was with her did not leave her. Actually, as she was dreaming, her father would check in on her to make sure that she was still dreaming the dreams a little girl should dream. So I actually was able to share that book with my mom, and I think that was kind of my way of trying to tell her that I understood the gender stuff that she experienced. So, what's that?
Pretty sad story.
Thank you. I'm going to try to pick it back up by the end, but yeah, thank you. My mom passed away, and I still grieve her loss, and that was a healing process. When you have clients, I actually hope you'll remember me. You have a lot of clients, whether they're religious nuns or whether they're very religious or whether they're somewhere in between. Like, it's a meaning-making process. I had a shift. There was a point where I had a.
She died. She went to who created her.
Thank you.
Yes. She's in a good place.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Speaking of this dream that I'm going to tell you about, yeah. So I had a dream. I had some bad dreams actually, but at one point I had a dream that I don't know what to make of it, but it felt like a spiritual experience. So I'm basically in a car, in those movies where you go off a bridge and like you're going to hit the water and it's dangerous. And so I was basically worried, like, how am I going to take care of my mom? And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking through, I'm like ruminating. I'm like, I'm going to get her out. I'm going to protect her. We hit the water, and all of a sudden in the dream, I basically was in a stream. And she was okay, and it was like she was standing up. I mean, like I don't think the water was that deep actually, and she was standing up. And then in the dream when you kind of have an awareness that you're actually in a dream, I had that moment, and it was like I knew that I only had a few moments with her, and so basically it's like, oh shoot, what do I want to say to her? Like it was just weird. I had self-awareness to say, what do I want to say to her? And I asked her, I mean, so I'm just giving y'all a sense. This is what, I mean, basically, if you're doing therapy with Christians, we might have crazy stories like this. The thought that came in my head was, I wanted to know about heaven. I said, is it true? Does he love us as much as he says he does? And what do y'all think she said? What, I don't, do y'all know much about dreams? Man, no, she did not say anything to me. It was a silent dream. But think about like developmental stuff. I looked at her face and she was happy.
She was happy, yeah.
She was happy.
That's the answer.
Yeah. I cling to that memory. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what dreams are. A lot of my dreams are, I don't even care to tell you the truth. I want our field to be able to sit with people's stories. Because we have a lot of people that are trying to heal. Friendship may well be reckoned the masterpiece of nature. This is her graduation. She was honored with an honorary doctorate at Richmont. They don't give doctorates at Richmont. Now they do. She was thinking about it. This is in my office. I think this might be true. I found this somewhere. I, the captain of the Legion of Rome. This is on somewhere in Roman territory on a placard. There in life are two things, love and power, and no one has both. I love you. You don't have to say anything, but I mostly wanted to give her a hug. Timing wise, I think we're good for lunch. Y'all ready for lunch?